Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 13th day of April at the hour of 6 p.m. for the consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the District on April 7, 2016 at 9:30 a.m. in accordance with the Texas Opens Meeting Act, and a copy has been furnished to the County Clerk in Cameron County, Texas. Item number 1, this meeting is called to order. There is a quorum. All 5 board members are present. The meeting has been posted as required by law. Item 2, invocation and pledge of allegiance. Would everybody rise, please?
All right. Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, please bless this meeting and help us to follow your guidance and ensure that we have clean and safe drinking water and clean water on the wastewater side, so we can just continue to provide services to the best of our abilities. Say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending. Item 3 is invitation to the audience for discussion. Does anyone have anything? We'll move on to item 4, General Manager's Report.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just want to mention that Earth Day is April the 23rd. It's usually like 22nd, right? But it's on the 22nd, but the 23rd, our district and City Laguna Vista meet out at the park and give out information on like Earth Day, conservation for water and other little tips here and there for irrigation purposes, you know, to conserve water. And Daisy and Minnie usually go out, set a table and give out pamphlets from TCQ. And all the information that we received, Daisy and Minnie got it from TCQ at no cost. They got it for free.
Awesome.
It's good information.
That's the 23rd of April, you said?
It's actually the 22nd, but they go out there and celebrate it, like have like tables out there on the 23rd, which is a Saturday, and they give out stuff. I don't know what the City of Laguna Vista gives out, but I think it's information also. Easy. Information.
You get a good turnout out there.
Yeah. So the next thing that I have is we met with city officials at South Padre Island with Mayor Patel and 3 council members and assistant city manager. They wanted Charles and I and Victor went up there because they wanted water quality information. So they just wanted to make sure that the water was safe. They were concerned that they received the last notice in December and January. So they had questions. They said, well, that was the last, letter, and it's only to comply with the TCQ requirements on notification. So I did mention that in June there'll be a water quality consumer confidence report coming out, and it does mention everything from 2015, which is already stuff that happened in 2015. So it'll be another concern. So I wrote they requested for a letter, in layman's terms, to advise the public, that the water quality is good. It's just information that has to be out, from 2015. So they want to get as much information from our analysis, testing, and metals and lead and copper, THMs, anything that we test for. They want a copy so they can put it on their website, and we'll be doing the same thing in our website, so we can give as much information, educate the public that the water is safe. And we did talk about other little stuff like that. My way of thinking is that maybe in the future we'll go into RO treatment at the water plant number 2. Since we already have microfiltration, I don't think it'll be expensive to put membranes ahead of that after the microfiltration and have better quality water without worrying about the public concerns and violations or anything like that. So future. we'll look into the cost and we'll bring it up later.
Okay.
The next thing I have here is the retiree that Ms. Jane Kirkpatrick retired March the 31st, and she was our HR and payroll agent. So we're looking into hiring again. We advertised last week for a whole week, and we received 31 applicants.
Wow.
That were in line with the deadline, and then we received like 3 more after that, but we had to reject those because the line was on the 6th. But out of the 33 applicants, we worked on them like 3 days already, and 3 of us, Victor, myself, and San Juana, and we came up with at least five good applicants that we'll be looking at and interviewing tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get somebody in replacement of the HR agent. So pretty soon. And that's all I have for right now.
Any other questions for the general manager? All right, I was item 5. I'm sorry, I jumped 4. So let's go back to item 4. Is consider and approve the minutes for the regular meeting of March 23rd, 2016.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wells, second by Mr. Thomas. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We'll move on to item number 6 now, District Engineers Report.
All right, yeah, the first item is an update on our Port Isabel wastewater treatment facility. Today we did receive the 60% design submittal from Corollo, and they also had submitted the basis of design memorandum and the summary transmittal letter to GCEQ. So that'll basically start the plan review period, you know, where they can review the project and basically have it approved for construction about 90 days or so. And as far as permits, still working with the Corps. There's 2 parts to the Corps permit. There's regulatory division and then real estate division. So for regulatory, we should be approved by the end of the month for our nationwide permits for outfall and the wetland crossings and everything. For real estate, I'm looking at submitting that application probably tomorrow, and that's basically because there's the placement area for dredge material, and even where all our pipelines located is dedicated by easement for spoil material. So we got to get all that approved through real estate up in the Galveston district. But you know, everything looks like we're in line to just have to go through that process, but it'll probably be a good 6 months or so. But that'll get submitted up to real estate tomorrow, basically. And then as far as easements, we got the new easement with a correct land ownership signed with Port Isabel San Benito Navigation District. So easements are complete. And then of course with the Garcia thing, that's strictly a water rights issue that's separate from this project at this point. So that's basically where we're sitting. So I guess moving on to the next one, it's the Gulf Boulevard. I don't know if you've seen the water line construction progress. We started up at Gardenia and are working our way south. March 28th is when they started spotting utilities and getting going on the pipeline excavation. And we've already installed about a little over 3,000 feet of 8-inch water line for the past couple of weeks. They have 2 crews working on it right now, so it's about 35% of the pipeline as a whole is already complete. So they're cranking along pretty good. They're working Saturdays between now and before Memorial Day, so they can take advantage of the lighter traffic out there. So that's they want to get as far as they can before school lets out.
Charles, we got people out there?
Yeah. For Joel's crew, we have Juan Mayorga. He's a full-time inspector on site, so he's keeping real good notes, and they're catching every detail with lines getting exposed, stuff we didn't know was there. It's all getting recorded and mapped properly, so we're gonna know that area, with correct GIS maps and everything. So
awesome.
It's nice that we're getting that detail.
Yeah, for future.
Yes.
We've never really known.
Yeah. And y'all found that extra line that's been dormant for a while?
Well, I mean, every block there's like a 2-inch or 1.5 inch we didn't know about, so we we keep turning them up.
Mr. Thomas, you have a question, sir?
Yeah, who's paying for the patching on all the cuts through the driveways and stuff? That's part of the contract?
Yeah, the caliche. I mean, we do have an agreement with South Padre Island where they're going to reimburse us for fire protection. Like they've already issued us a PO for $89,000.
I'm talking about fire protection. I'm talking about the paving and the approaches to the driveways.
That's all part of this contract. So what we're paying for.
Contract, okay.
Thanks, Charles.
Yes, that concludes the report.
Question, that's the Gulf Boulevard water line construction progress. Any update from you guys on the Port Isabel Garcia Street
Yeah,
situation?
I mean, right now, we're potholing that cast iron line. We're going through that alley from Garriga down to Garcia Street. And then once we get that pothole information, the design is about 60% complete. And so we're gonna give them some field locations of some of the water lines. And so we'll probably be looking at, wrapping design up in the next month or two and get it out for bid. So we can go ahead and proceed with Garcia and all the way up to Garriga to remove that cast iron line from service.
You think maybe in a couple of months we'll go cover?
Yeah, this summer it'll probably be out for bid.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Thomas.
Have we done any more testing, and this might probably more be for Victor than anybody, on the salinity in Laguna Vista, now that we've still replaced some more lines?
Yeah, no, the last one we did was that report I gave just
Okay.
about a month and a half ago since it was, so I'm letting it go about 3 months and then go from there.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? All right, let's move on to item number 7, Director of Operations report, Victor.
For the month of March, we did have spring break and Holy Week that month there, so we did have 8 meters tested. We had 3 swapped. We did have 4 water taps come in and 3 sewer taps also come in. Just for I guess information purposes, I know today we have the water shut down here on Bass Street on the Fingers. The city was installing a fire hydrant, so we had that going. And then for tomorrow, just in case, we are shutting the water down on Laguna Vista from the mesquite project that we're doing. It's going to be affecting Taylor, Fernandez, Stell, Holland, and Mesquite, all that area. That's the final tie-in that we have from the line that we've been putting off from Mesquite. We got to cross it over to Taylor, and that's the last tie-in that we have. And then after that, we got to back T-sample it, the pipe, the new pipe, and then after that we'll go and go meter by meter, house by house, and connect the meters.
Okay.
So,
The city has been notified of that?
yes, we sent out notices, and we also have it on the website, and we sent out emails as well.
Okay, very good.
We did that.
Last time it wasn't real nice.
And then, and also, I was doing some I guess some history for you. Back in 2014, 2015, from October to March, we had a total of 1,858 completed service orders. And at the same period for 2015 and 16 that we are right now, so far we've gone up, we've got 2,152 service orders that we've completed. So, we're out there, we're pretty busy out there. And that's all I had.
Okay. Any questions or comments, gentlemen? I got a question. During March, when we had spring break and Holy Week, water consumption, what were we pumping?
About 5.5 more than.
About 5.5?
Fluctuating a lot.
Okay. All right. No problem with handling that, huh? Awesome. Very good. Let's move on to item 8, Director of Finance report.
On the expenses for the month of March, I'm going to be presenting in a little while the financial statement for February. But on the monthly report, I wanted to tell you about the expenses on March. And basically, we're looking at savings of $100,000 for the month of March, which is pretty good because also there's an increase on the revenues for $100,000. So right there, we're seeing a good, pretty much cost that is being decreased on the purchases for this month. And also on the we have Secretary Exchanges Commission, which is pretty much the financial advisor was requesting some information for the revenue bond, so we had an audit. We provided all the information for the audit with the SEC, and that took me pretty much about a week to complete that. But it was good. I mean, at least we were able to provide all the information that they needed, so we are on compliance. And also, I had the FEMA auditors We've been getting some requests, I believe that's back 2009, and for some reason the information has not been completed to their standards. You know, they've been continuing requesting information, and the last time that the auditors came by about 3 months ago, they asked for additional information, so we provided, I believe this time, everything that they needed, everything that we had available, because everything is from the Hurricane Valley. And they told me that if this time, you know, hopefully will be everything meeting their standards, we can get up to $250,000 back. So we're hoping that everything will go, you know, well. And also, I'm starting preparing for the next budget for the fiscal year 2017. So we met with the managers, and we are asking for some information. We're asking for them to start working on their inventories, to check on the equipment, what is it that they're gonna need, like kind of like divide versus the wants and versus the needs, and they're gonna be working with this with Victor and Charles to make sure that we get, first of all, you know, the equipment needs, then the capital improvement plan, and all of this before by, let's say, that April 25th. So once that we have all that information, the cost and the estimate amounts that we're gonna need for the next fiscal year, I would like to meet for a workshop, or kind of like a pre-workshop meeting with the budget committee. And I would like, if it's possible, on April 29th, my goal is to complete the budget for 2017 in May. Usually that's where all the governmental districts finish theirs, and the appraisal district also, you know, finish theirs on May. So I'm shooting for that date. Hopefully we can make it, but I'm gonna need pretty much everybody's cooperation. And on the budget committee, Mr. Cantu and you are, Mr. Kevin, you are the ones on that committee. So if 29 is good for you, I guess we'll send you a request.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
So
I think it's a little early, but, yeah, I think it's a little early. We don't, I mean, our budget year starts
all of
when?
these get together
October?
with some other, the information that we're gonna need to prepare for the end of the year for the fiscal audit. So I need to be kind of like free my time so I can focus on the audit.
We'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
All right, any comments, questions? Let's move on to item 9, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled on the board meeting of March 23rd, 2016 is consider and approve entering into a letter of intent with ABM Building and Energy Solutions for an investment grade audit. Can we get a motion to remove it from the table only, please? Motion by Mr. Freeman. Second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is off the table. We'll go on to item 10, consider and approve entering into a letter of intent with ABM Building and Energy Solutions for an investment grade audit. Do we have a motion? Second call for a motion. Right, that item dies for a lack of a motion. We'll move on to item 11, consider and discuss water audit by water loss prospector.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have Mark Mathis here. He's going to do a presentation on the audit.
Chairman, board members. So here's a little handout.
I did it when I drew that.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna look at it.
I'll help you guys. I'll help you.
No.
This is discussion only.
I conducted, my name's Mark Mathis, and I'm the owner of WL Prospecting, and we did an audit for the district here, and that was handed out last week to Mr. Galvan and Mr.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm here to present that to the board this evening, and just want to go over a little bit about what an audit is. It is similar to a financial audit, in that in order to get and have reliable, a lot of confidence in the data, part of that is validating the data. And some of that was missed. We were able to go off the production meter accuracy, which was about 98.64, so we used that. Some of the things that yes, sir.
Why weren't these in our package?
This is supposed to be just a discussion, that's why.
Okay.
So, some of the things I'll recommend would be, meter testing and DMA. But let me just kind of go through an audit. Basically what you're looking for is how much water is lost as a volume of water. And then where is that water lost? Is it lost through the meters, or is it lost in the main line? And how much is that loss costing the utility? If it's lost in your metering system, then it's a retail dollar, because you could have gotten revenue for it. If there's money that, if there's water loss through your main line, then you would express through a production dollar, because all you did was just the cost of chemicals and electricity and the water, so it's a much smaller rate. And we do validation. Part of the auditor's job is to question everything, question all the data, where it came from, and the method that was used to develop it. So we kind of already went through this slide. So what is water loss? You look at water loss and saying that you got, this is what you produced, you purchased it, you treated it, you got it out of the system. We have a term called authorized consumption, which entails all your sales, all your flushing, all your flushing, your fire department, and all the uses within the district, or sometimes in the city, it would be all the libraries and public offices, things like that. So once you take out that authorized consumption, meaning that you gave someone permission, authorized them to use that water, you take that out of what you produced, the rest is water loss. And you've got that broken down two ways. You've got real loss, which is water that you lost in your main line, and then apparent loss is water you lost. Not really lost, it's more of a paper loss. It was used by somebody, either through a meter or through a fire hydrant. So this is a AWA water balance. It's an industry standard, and it kind of goes through all the types of uses and ways to lose water in a system. And this is what we use. I'm on the American Water Works Association Water Loss Control Committee. It's an international committee, and this is what we use across the world to show utilities where water loss and consumption may be occurring in the system. So you look at, once you've done the audit, you basically try to figure out what's going on within the system. And you can look at the sheet that you have. Some of the things that I noticed that were kind of peculiar in 2014 on page 6. On 2014, you had more sales than you had production in April, and then you had the same thing in September, more sales than production. And without further investigation, it's hard to determine exactly what would cause that. What was even more peculiar was in 2015 on the next page. You had the same thing happen in September for 2015. We had sales exceeding production. And it's hard to really know what causes that. Sometimes it's caused by the production meter over registering. But in this case, it's not, because we've got that calibration sheet that shows, that proves that it was tested, so that's not the case here. But without further investigation, it's hard to know exactly what's going on.
So the same month and 2 years in a row.
Yes, sir.
How many gallons?
You're looking at about 5 million gallons difference.
5 million gallons.
Which you, and part of that may be traced back to what we call a meter lag. A meter lag is you're reading your production meters at the beginning of the month, and you've got your sales at the end of the month. Right? So throughout the year, you're going to have variances in your percentages of water loss. Right? Well, in the industry, we don't necessarily look at months. We look at years. Okay? And so we've got 12 months worth of data. We don't want sales exceeding production at the end of the year, because you've got 12 months worth of data. Normally the meter lag works itself out so that you've got 15% water loss. What you don't want is a negative 10% water loss. That's what you don't want. It means that you didn't lose any water, you created water.
So what did we show as a year for 2014? As far as
Well, I have dollar amounts. I don't have
volume amounts?
Yeah, there's two reports, just like the one I'm holding, that staff has, and the reports are in the back of that document, and the complete water loss spreadsheet is in that report, and it shows all that with water loss at the end.
Yes, sir, Mr. Thomas.
I know we've got a 1 million gallon storage tank out at Water Plant 2. What's the tower capacity on storage?
Tower?
From one end of the joint to the other. Anybody get a shotgun figure?
It's 4.5 million on all the water tanks.
4.5 million. So actually,
Storages at the water plant.
we can store, after the water has come through, 6 million gallons of water. And if any of those go down in volume, it's pretty easy to find 3 million gallons of this water pretty quick when the towers are half full. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
So my recommendations to the district are two things. Let me back up a little bit. So you have types of water loss here. You have background leakage, which is leakage that is not able to be detected by acoustic equipment or modern technology, because it's so small that it doesn't make enough noise for the equipment to pick it up, if you will. Right? The second type is called unreported loss. And the way I associate unreported loss is you've got unreported and then you've got reported. Reported breaks or leakage are basically if you took a map and you said, this is how much water we lost on all the reported breaks that we had throughout the year. That's one map. The other map, which is the unreported, is if you took a map and you put all this equipment out in the system, it's going to show you that you've got leaks occurring in the system that have not surfaced. Right? That map overall will have a greater volume of water loss in it than the other map would. Okay? So that map, the unreported loss map, you can make a difference or make that smaller, the volume in it, by doing a couple of things. One of them is doing what we call a DMA, which is a district metered area. And the reason I bring those up is because this district is designed perfectly for those. Because you have the island, which is completely separate. Then you've got, I can't remember the other one, you've got Laguna Heights, Laguna Vista, and then Port Isabel. And so I guess there's really 3 systems, not 4. But the island, so the proposal would be to put some insertion meters on the line that leaves the island, put another insertion meter on the island to monitor that pipe to see if there's any water loss going on in the pipe, because it is underwater. You don't know. And then as part of that program is to do a complete leak detection survey of the island. And by doing that, that would that would basically eliminate or tell you how much water loss is occurring on the island. And then once you've done that, then you have further validated the audit. And then you would do the other systems as well. The other thing would be to do meter testing for each of the systems. So we're going to test a percentage of this system and a percentage of this system and a percentage of that system. And then that also further validates water loss. Because metering, validating that number helps validate real loss as well.
And then is there a formula to figure out, based on, we got X amount of meters on the island, so we should test this percentage? Is that
Normally, the industry standard is 1%.
1%, okay.
And make that representative of the whole.
Okay. Based on 2 inch, based on 4 inch, based on 5/8.
Right.
Okay.
Normally, you have some commercial meters in there as well, and those are normally over and above the 1%. You want to test more of the residential meters. In this case, because it is the island, and you've got such a large commercial base on the island, I would almost test more of those meters, because that's more of your money here. In a typical utility, it's backwards.
Less residential, more commercial.
Here it is
Here it
that
is,
way.
right.
But normally it's more residential and less commercial. So that's my presentation in a nutshell. I'm sorry I talked so fast. I didn't know how much time I had.
What were you were going to say something about a recommendation though?
Yeah, those were the 2 recommendations.
Okay.
One is to do what we call a DMA and intersection survey of the island first. That's the easiest. And then go from there. With the audit showed, now this is an annual number of spending, take your total real loss volume, which is the water that you lose in your main line, multiplied at a production dollar, right, is $186,000 a year. Now the DMA is about a 16th of that. So you spend a 16th of that annually, then you've eliminated the island as part of your problem or challenge, if you will.
Yeah, so anything else in addition to what popped out as far as, we had selling more water than we produced? Anything else jump out? That was pretty good.
One of the things that I do is I always look at 2 years worth of data. And sometimes consultants only look at 1. I look at 2 years. That way I can trend it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you
other
for your
questions?
time.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Very good. Let's move on to item 12. Consider and ratify Isla Blanca wastewater plant belt filter press restoration repair.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Thomas. Second by Mr. Friedman. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item 13 is consider and approve purchase of 32 membrane modules with PALD advanced separation systems for the water plant 2 microfiltration. Motion,
Right.
please.
Now there is a revised proposal from what's in your packet, and we did have a request if we really needed to do the field service for the engineer. And and so basically we do have a revised. Basically, we feel that through a remote login we're able to do the install ourselves, so we don't have to have that field technician come down. And so the revised request is for an amount of $65,892 to purchase these membrane modules and the related parts to complete the install. And we did have a follow-up on the shelf life question from what was discussed at the last meeting, and they recommend a 1-year shelf life, but they're delivered in a glycol preservative, so they have to stay in a wet condition and not get knocked around to stay, to avoid damage. And so technically you can have them in that condition for up to 5 years, but I mean they really don't recommend you storing them more than a year. And you always have to be checking on it, make sure that they haven't leaked or gotten knocked around. You can't store them outside. So I mean, if we do receive these modules, we recommend just installing them and putting them to work right away. And so that's basically our request is for $65,892 to purchase the, and 40 cents.
Okay, so that's down from 78,089.26.
Correct. Yeah, it'd be the request.
This money is coming from,
It'd be, I charge to the water infrastructure account, that, where we're getting that 40% increase that's going to capital every month.
Okay.
And these are necessary, huh?
Well, this is giving us one MGD of
Or just 'cause
capacity.
they're a deal?
They're a good deal. I mean, what we're buying for $59,000, the average price for those is $115,000.
Is how much, 115?
$115 would be the average
And
price.
we know these aren't expired, something they've had laying around for 2 or 3
No, they
years?
just have an overstock, so they need to clear it out of the factory. But I mean, we're just, taking advantage of them calling us instead of us calling them for when they're giving a price.
So it's not like that expired meat bin at the end of the HEB meat department
No,
where
I
they
mean,
knock it down to
they
$1 a
still-
pound?
This is still tied to a
Green
10-year warranty.
stuff with the green thing.
The green, yeah, it's not
I mean,
green.
well, these have a 10-year warranty on them, so they're not gonna give something where they're gonna have to replace them because they.
And there's there'll be a warranty on them,
Yeah,
you
it's
said?
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
And we have planned to budget for that in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean.
Just to have budget to purchase them, to fill in those empty modules.
Yeah.
If we do install them, it'll put less stress on all the
I'll
filters.
make
Yeah,
a motion to
exactly.
purchase.
Motion by Mr. Thomas. Yes.
I'll second that then.
Second by Mr. Friedman. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Let's move on to item 14. Consider an approval of unaudited financial statements for the month of February 2016. Gentlemen, have you read those? Taking a look at that?
Not really.
No? Okay.
That's your job.
It is my job. Yeah, they look fine. Next board next meeting we will have Marches?
Yes,
Because we're like 2 weeks behind?
yes,
Okay, so the next meeting of this month we'll have Marches.
yes.
Awesome. Okay. All right, very good. Motion to approve, please.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Friedman. Second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15 is consideration for approval of investing bond monies and limited operating funding.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, that was in our packet.
Hot off the press. They just got right this morning.
I hate it when they do that shit.
It has to be like that.
It has to be like that.
Why?
We received all the rates today, they send them out.
Yes, we've been very busy working on your account since the last meeting. We set your account up. We've been working on getting all of your data loaded all the way back to the beginning of the fiscal year so that we'll have a continuity for the whole year. So we're working on that. I met with staff. We looked at some of the funds, and we're biting off right now about $7 million of your total of about $19 million to start with. We looked at each of the individual funds and when they might need the assets. Right now, we're keeping those to a year and under. So this morning we went out and checked with all of the banks, and the rate sheet that you have here shows what the banks were willing to offer for the various maturity dates. And just to briefly go over this, on the far left hand are the maturity terms that we were looking at. Money market is essentially overnight money, and then 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, year and a half, and 2 years as the maximum time that you'd be wanting to go out right now. The Treasury rate and the agency rates to those same dates are put on here so that you can see where the market is when we actually went out. We sent this rate sheet to 23 banks. 7 of them responded back, and the rates that they gave us are attached. We've highlighted those rates that are highest for each given maturity range. After looking at the 6-month and 9-month rates at not being as good as the money market rate that one of the banks had provided us, Green Bank is showing 55 basis points, and that again is a liquid fund that you can have 6 withdrawals per month, as opposed to locking your money into a CD. We thought that it might be better to keep your funds a little bit flexible right now at a 55 basis point. That's 30 basis points better than you're getting at your current bank right now. The other option is some of the money, they're certain that 1 year is comfortable, that you're willing to say that 1 year from now we'll need those funds, but we don't need them for a year. So the best rate for the 1 year, which would be a certificate of deposit, was 70 basis points. So I've got two options here. The reason I put a second option, there's another bank that has a money market account, Southside, and theirs is a variable rate money market. Green Bank's rate is 55 basis points, and it's stuck there. Southside's resets once a week, and they take the tax pool rate, which right now is 33, and they add 12 basis points, and they pay you that rate for a week. Now, tax pool rate has been creeping up. Right now, those two combined amounts equal about 46 basis points, so it's still below that 55 at Green. I threw in that you might want to go ahead and set up the Southside account and put some of your money there now, or just wait and hold that account open for the time when tax pool and the combined 12 basis points is at least equal to the 55 or higher. So option one would be to put everything in Green Bank. We've got 4 accounts here that we're looking at. The 2012 bonds, $3 million, the 2016 bonds, $2 million, emergency fund, $1 million, and general operating, $1 million. The top 3 that I mentioned would all go into that money market account at Green Bank at 55, and the 1-year CD would also go into Green Bank at 70. Now, yes.
Our emergency fund is $2 million, not $1 million.
But the total that they felt comfortable going out when we were looking at CDs.
Locking up for 1
right,
year.
Locking up for
You're not putting it
1 year.
all into a 1 year.
Well, no, I mean, the way you have it broken down on option one, it's not locked in for 1 year. It's you can withdraw
Right.
6 times. So,
And,
correct?
right.
6 times in a month.
I don't know who Green Bank is.
So,
I've never heard of these banks.
I mean, so I would feel comfortable putting all $2 million in there.
Okay.
To be, as one director, I would feel more comfortable putting all of it in there.
Okay. Well, that's the nice thing about the money market funds, is they're flexible.
Yeah,
You can
because
put money in
it's
and
not
take
like
it out.
we're locked in on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
sir, Mr. Thomas.
How's their money protected?
That's
There
Green
is-
Bank goes
That's
green or
Yeah.
blue.
Fly.
Yeah, his little feet fly up in the air and he assumes room temperature.
Yeah. By state law, they must be fully collateralized. And so for Green Bank, they're pledging a Federal Home Loan Bank letter of credit for the full amount plus accrued interest. So that if anything goes bad, you turn that letter of credit to Federal Home Loan Bank and they pay you all your money immediately. For banks like Southside that pledge securities, you actually have securities delivered to a third-party custodian, which is the Fed for Southside. They pledge 102% market value.
Insurance companies, probably.
No, Treasuries agencies, and the Fed is the Federal Reserve. And so Southside does pledge securities, but those security market values can fluctuate up and down, so that means you have to monitor to make sure you retain that 102%. The nice thing about the letter of credit from Federal Home Loan Bank is it does not fluctuate, and you've got that letter of credit in hand that you can draw on if something happens. Now, by state law, we can't do anything with anybody that's not collateralized fully.
Does that sound right to you, Counselor?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Well,
Counselor, too? All right. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I reviewed the contracts and very balanced, very well protected in your favor. So.
In our favor.
Right.
Good.
How would we do it with the $2 million that Jeff was saying about putting in the emergency fund?
We can put as much in there as you'd like. As I mentioned, we had originally just come up with $7 million as the point to start nibbling. The anticipation was that we could perhaps find a CD rate that was better, even at the 6-month and 9-month. But quite frankly, the banks just don't have appetite, and they're not paying a good enough rate. You can do the money market account now. If rates go up, we can always go back out for another CD opportunity. But yes, as much money as you'd like to put in there, up to $10 million at Green Bank. They put the limit of $10 million. South Side has not imposed a limit yet, but I can tell you that generally they like to keep it between 5 and 10. It's not, just an open-ended thing.
Where's Greenbank's headquarters?
Green Bank is headquartered in Dallas. And it's a large bank. It has branch banks all over the state, but it is in the state.
All right, so let's say we put in all $2 million of the emergency money into Green Bank on
Okay.
the money market side. We wait till after, and keep it in the money market side so we can use it every month, right?
Sure.
Okay, we wait till after hurricane season over and we find a good rate on the CD, we can take half of it.
9 months later.
That's right. That's right.
And do something like that?
Yes, absolutely. I think
Okay.
that's a good strategy.
Very flexible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the question would remain, are you going to put everything in Green Bank, or are you going to put some of it in Southside? And that, I don't have a problem putting it all in Green Bank. I do just point out that you're diversifying if you're putting it in 2 banks as opposed to 1. It's all collateralized, it's, right now it's a differential of about 9 to 10 basis points. But,
Green Bank being your best opportunity for.
Absolutely, right.
Yeah, but if tax pool goes up, we'd have the flexibility of earning more.
Yes.
Is there a
Got a
tax
ways
pool?
for it to catch up in 9 months.
It's up to you, gentlemen. I don't have a problem diversifying between the both. I don't have a problem sticking all my money, like she said, in the Green Bank. How about staff?
No problem diversifying, because I think that's one of her opinions to do that.
Not having all the eggs in one basket.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Mr. Thomas?
Eddie, you did look at this a little bit.
Hold on, Mr. Wilson.
I did. Like, the next day she sent it to me.
Well, wait a minute, all of your eggs in one basket, what does that mean? If we're getting our best deal out of Green Bank, if it's safe, let's put it all where we're getting the best return on our money.
That's fine.
Well, here's what I would recommend, is that we go ahead and do the paperwork for our South Side.
Go south of there,
And then, if tax pool rate catches up, then we've got the flexibility to move the money over into South Side without going through the...
How often is the tax pool rated?
What's your recommendation?
Well, she's gonna say the insurance.
That's right. Come on.
Okay, if you want the best bang for your buck, Green Bank.
Okay.
If
Is that
you-
your recommendation?
I tend to be a little more conservative. I tend to like to diversify. I want to look at a portfolio that has some, other things in your portfolio. Having some in Southside, like I mentioned, does give you the opportunity when tax pool rate goes up, it'll rise, and it might rise higher than Green Bank's rate over time.
And how often is the
Yes.
tax pool rate evaluated?
Tax pool rate changes every day,
Every day.
but they only reset it on the Monday morning rate.
You said weekly. They reset it, right?
Southside resets it weekly. Tax pool rate changes daily. And tax pool rate has been going up ever since December, when the Federal Open Markets Committee raised the Fed funds rate. So it's been moving up slowly.
All right. Where's all this money now?
With the regular IBC bank,
It's
which
with-
is 0.25, earning
With
0.25.
No
IBC?
penalties pulling that out now, you're free to pull that out without penalties at this point?
Right.
Yeah.
It's cash.
Right now, we have it in a
It's
regular
cash.
checking account. We're not touching the money that we have on our CDs. We have 2 CDs.
What about the CDs? I mean, if we can get some of our money.
No, because, we don't wanna
Gotta
spend
get
the
one of these
money,
companies.
we wanna, keep the liquidity in case that we may need it, because most of this money is already committed, for the bank, for some construction projects and stuff, so that's why we need to kinda like keep it ready in case that we need it, like the emergency fund, we have 2 million, but if something happens, we're just gonna have that money available. And with this option, we will be able to withdraw the money. We're not setting out with a CD, like 3 months, 6 months, anything like that.
Would you guys feel comfortable doing option 1, but jumping up the emergency fund to all of it?
Well, the option 2, I think, will be the best, because like she was recommending, at least it's like, registering pretty much with a second bank, and that way, if the rate changes, we can just move quickly and take advantage of those increases.
Or we can keep 1 million of the emergency fund in option 1 with Green and 1 million on Southside.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right, you could do that.
Make a motion.
Wanna do that route?
under her recommendation.
Under her recommendation,
We hired her to do this stuff.
her recommendation is option 2.
Option 2, but if, like you said, you wanted to add that extra million and put it into Green Bank, we
Green.
could do that, definitely. And that way it'll give you the flexibility. You've got an account open with Southside,
Okay.
and then you can move money as you need it.
And how's this insured again, not through the FISLIC, but through some home loan deal?
Okay, the Federal Home Loan Bank is a U.S. government agency, and it controls all of the banks nationwide. It is set up as a subsidiary agency of the U.S. government. It's very, very highly rated. It's not like your Fannie Mae's and your Freddie Mac's that had problems. Those were shareholder-owned. This is not shareholder-owned. It is government, Federal Home Loan Bank.
That's almost scary.
Guys that are 19 trillion.
But they do issue a letter of credit to you, so if you were depositing $10 million, they would issue a letter of credit drawn on the Federal Home Loan Bank for $10 million plus your interest capacity. And then you hold that letter of credit so that if anything happens to the bank, you go directly to the Federal Home Loan Bank and they pay you that money.
How long does it take to get paid if something happens?
Oh, yeah, it can.
It's not happened to us ever, but they typically can pay within a week that you get your money back. It's a lot quicker turnaround, quite frankly, than the FDIC has been.
I like it. And I liked it that our counsel here he's looked it over and has no problems with it.
So you are recommending option 2?
I like option 2, but then adding the additional.
Adopt option 2. We can keep talking about it later.
Okay, sir, can you amend the motion to include the extra million in emergency fund to Green Bank?
I can do that.
Yes, sir. Very
So
good.
I just did.
All right, awesome. All right, so we have a motion,
I'll second.
second by
I
Mr.
even
Friedman.
wrote that down, but I put it in the wrong column.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It's gonna be my fault when they broke, right?
Yes, sir. Well, we also have to remember, after November, if Bernie gets elected, we're gonna have to pull everything out. Wait a minute, did I say that? All right, I'm sorry. Item 16, consideration and approval to transfer the WSDC and SSDC's accounts to capital funding ledger accounts. There's no, I mean, I was looked at the packet and there's really there's no backup except a bunch of numbers. And then there's no explanation.
Yeah, let me, I guess, explain you what this is. This is pretty much like a requirement for auditing, and it's just a transferring from one fund to another. What happened is that all the expenses for the WSDCs are being paid off from Fund 03. You know, like in governmental accounting, we have different funds, like the regular operating, you know, our billings are coming into the operating Fund 01. But we're transferring money, you know, to the WSDCs, everything is capital. So we're just making sure that when we're paying, it's kind of like to smooth the process in the accounts payable, so we can pay it from the same fund that we're putting the money in. It's just an accounting process. We're not losing money. We're not making changes to the monies or to the budget or anything like that. It's just an accounting process. But in order for me to do it and be in compliance with the auditors, I need to have this document.
You know, I've been through, 12 audits now, and I've never heard that. So I've never seen any recommendation from our auditors on that.
For changes?
Yeah, for what you just said. He said it's a requirement by the auditors, and I've never seen that in any of our audits that they.
I can show you the compliance. We have it with the TCQ. It's something that we need to provide in
Yeah, but it's never come up in our audits stating that we have to do that. It's never come up. I've never seen it anywhere in writing, so.
Well, and this is what happened, you know, it was pretty much posted in the Fund 01, but it shouldn't be 01, it shouldn't be 03. And it's like, at the beginning also we had the water and sewer combined, and that's something that it should have been done like that also. So I corrected that one too.
I don't know, gentlemen. Can we just get a motion to table this for now until, I'm gonna check with something on that before we do anything.
Make a motion to table.
Okay, motion by Mr. Freeman to table.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wells. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
You got somebody gonna check this out with you?
Yes, sir. Item 17, consider and approve disbursements. Gentlemen, have you looked at your disbursements?
Yeah.
Any questions, comments?
I had a question on, page 4. Asphalt repair, $14,000. Where was that at, Victor?
That was, that's 5 different locations that we have to repair, when we have water leaks and sewer taps that we repaired on the island.
And then we'll go to page 9. And it says, asphalt repair, Laguna Vista sewer, $52,000, LV sewer, $38,000, $94,000 check.
That one is, from the,
Yeah, that's the releasing the retainage and the final payment for the Ebony sewer and everything we did with Lmwdregularmeeting. That was the contract with
Did the whole
GT.
street.
Okay.
All right.
Same company, did it? The other ones?
Yeah, cause GT has their annual paving contract, and then they also were the contractor for Laguna Vista sewer.
Okay, alright. So we're on contract with them, it's not like we go out for bids or anything like that, I mean, it's.
Yes, we
or
did.
bids.
These are both, they were both still bids.
For our annual
We went out
for our
bids
annual
for the
contract.
annual
we do,
contract?
That's something,
Regular?
yeah, so.
Right, and then the other one, we did, also, bids for that project,
For that one.
and they got the lowest bid, so we did both.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, what did we bought 2,300's worth of brass parts. What did we buy? Is that for over there, what did we buy for $2,300? That's a lot of brass pipe and fittings anyway. And, looking for the electric bill. It'll be in the next one, won't it?
the 2,300 is just, restocking the warehouse from all the brass parts that we've been using.
Okay, but you were,
Usually, ball valves, two
but
different kinds
how
of
many
ball
water
valves
taps
connected.
did you have? You told us just earlier in the meeting that we've done
We had
so
4
many.
for the month of March, 4.
4 for the month of March.
Yes.
Where else would you use these valve replacements or?
Yeah, some of, I mean, it's just, either, water valves that they have replaced from the line to the meter, that need replaced. Anytime they have customer calls in for a leak that we go check, and if it's on our side, if it's an old connection, we put everything new, and we have it covered.
I hear you. I just quite a lot. How's our, light bill looking? We've put some more of these, we have some of the new blower motors on the line now. Well, I'm not gonna bring that up.
Not yet, no, not yet.
No, not yet.
Next week.
All right, any further questions on disbursements? All right, so we have a motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Freeman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wells. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any reason for executive session today? No, sir? All right, be it that there's no further business of the agenda below, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you.